Okay, here's another League of Legends game coming your way, this time with Swain top. So, Birdman, it was free the week of this recording, and here's his game. As for the lane matchups, we have Jace mid against Azir. I'm Swain top against Yasuo. We have Jarvan in the jungle against... I can't see who that is. And we have Lucian and Braum bot against Tristan. I couldn't see who she was with. So I am doing this post-commentary, so I have a much smaller screen than normal, which makes it a little tricky to read at times. But luckily for you, you can actually see it in full, and you won't actually be left in the dark. As for Swain, I don't know what his stuff is called. His passive is Carrion Renewal. It's a way to regenerate mana whenever you get a last hit or take part in a champion kill, basically the Athene's passive, as well as the Duran Ring passive. Q is Decrepify. It's a targeted ability, applies a slow damage over time. Usually referred to as Laser Bird, I believe. W is Never Move. It's a move where you target an area on the ground. After a moment, talons will erupt, rooting everyone inside of that area in place. Your E is Torment. It's a move that amplifies the other damage you're going to inflict, kind of like a mini DFG without the percent damage up front, but it does do damage still. And finally, your ult is Ravenous Flock. It's a toggle type move where you have to pay mana per second to cast, but while you are in your transform state, you will send out ravens to, I assume, collect flesh for you. By having the ravens go back and forth, you are healed, so you basically have a way to turn mana into health. Now, as for this, I haven't really played a lot of Swain. I heard a lot of people say a lot of nice things about him. We needed an AP top, so I figured, well, try Swain. As a result, I grabbed Decrepify first. I believe Torment now is actually what you're supposed to start with, but since I really haven't played him, I don't have a feel for his damage. I don't actually know the skill order offhand to actually start properly, which is why I went for the Q, but as I actually start to trade with Yasuo, I start to figure things out. So you will have to bear with a rough early game, sadly. So as for this lane, I don't believe Yasuo blocks the Decrepify. He can only block Torment and maybe the Ravenous Flock. I'm not even sure about that. But as for my opponent, he is a Yasuo main. He has played like 300 Yasuo games, so he definitely should know the character in and out, compared to me who's played Swain less than 5. So, let's see how badly this can go, right? And seeing as I'm doing this post-commentary, I actually know, but I'll leave you waiting in suspense. Anyway, still can't really see who the other guys in the game are, but we'll figure out when we get to team points. As for Yasuo, he got too close, so I get to take out somewhere between 2/3 to 4/5 of his health. And I don't believe he makes that mistake too much more, sadly. Since I didn't have my ult or really anything else off cooldown, I didn't go in any further on that. Jarvan does flash and flags and drags, I believe. All in all, I thought he was closer based off his ping. Yes, he did ping. But I also didn't think I'd actually be able to take that much of Yasuo's health off. Like I said, I don't really play Swain, so I don't have a feel for his damage either. Anyway, the way I figured it out is you seem to get the best return by maxing Torment first, which will in exchange amplify all your other damage as well as increasing its own base damage. From there, the change in Never Move is just damage. It doesn't actually increase the root duration if I remember correctly, so I maxed that last, opting for Decrepify second. Since it has a better slow as you rank it up, makes landing Never Move easier to land, and the damage over time does synergize with everything else in Swain's kit, the Ravenous Flock, the damage amplification from Torment, and since also a tether, having the enemy root in place with Never Move means the rest of the move will connect. So my plan for Swain is to build him as a tanky bruiser type. well, AP Bruiser. I'm going to be going for Rod of Ages and then Zhonya's Hourglass because it's just an all-around awesome item on Swain in the first place, but I'm also up against an AD lane opponent. So, we're getting close to level 6. Going to keep the lane frozen. I try to control it somewhat, but right there I even missed the last hit, which is pretty bad. Don't really know where Yasuo went, but he really shouldn't be... Well, Jarvan went really deep with that, but Yasuo did not move to take advantage of it. Right now I'm at level 5. Don't really know how far along Yasuo is. Right there I chose not to try to punish him with Never Move, but right there I chose to, when I probably actually should have tried it the first time around. So I managed to pop his shield. I took out a portion of his health, but my stuff is on cooldown, so he's able to try to make a play. I used Decryptify, Torment, but all in all it's kind of an even trade. And since I don't have the Catalyst yet, I don't actually get health and mana back upon level up. So his shield is back up, something I have to worry about if he tries to engage once again. But all in all, I do have the tools to punish his all-in if I perform it correctly. So right there he actually zigzagged back out, forced me to burn Flash, and since I have Teleport I actually could leave here, but I figure I might be able to bait him into the turret. So I decided to stick around. I have the health pots ticking. He seems all too happy to push when he probably actually should have just tried to freeze. I guess maybe he was afraid Jarvan would pay him a visit or something, but I don't think Jarvan shows up to this lane, which is a bit disappointing. Ravenous Flock, Never Move, Cataclysm all synergize with one another really well. And had Jarvan actually paid some attention here, we could have punished Yasuo, but I believe he is the bronze guy in a pre-made with the rest of the guys, so he's going to be paying his buddies a lot more attention than me, and I have to find a way to deal with Yasuo. So right there he managed to get the first kill on me, but you'll see what happens when I return to lane. Pick up the Ruby Crystal so that I can get closer to the Catalyst and ultimately Rod of Ages. And I just have to take this one step at a time. So I go ahead and burn Teleport because it's going to be closer to my side with the damage. It could push in a little bit, and I really don't want to miss any more CS than I have to. It's bad enough that I still don't have the Catalyst, but I still have ways to punish Yasuo. He's going to come back with a Zeal, if I remember correctly. He's rushing the Static Shiv as Yasuo should. Most do. And I got the cannon that time. Lucky me. So right around here is when I'm actually starting to get a sense of Swain's damage. I actually figured out the Torment importance and started to skill that up. I have the Ravenous Flock. And while I missed the Never Move, I still got to hammer him with Torment, Decryptify, and the Flock. So I took out half of his health in exchange for, what's that, a third of my mana? All in all, a really good trade. And he definitely has to be on guard from here, because I really do have the means to kill him. Even if he tries to go all in, just my sheer damage over time, as well as the CC from the root and the slow, can really mess him up if he's not careful with his positioning. So right here I get to take out... yeah, I think I kill him right here. He ults me while I have my flock going, which is just bad. And down he goes. So, one of the drawbacks to playing Swain is you just don't have wave clear. Good news is, Skarner, really slow, so I get to drop Never Move, and as a result, his gank fails. But I don't believe he gives up. Now that I think about it, how many Skarner games do I have for you guys this week? He's in this one, I think he's also in the one going up tomorrow. And one reason that I forgot to mention, why is Swain going up on a Tuesday? Well, seeing as he's the leader of Noxus, and for those of you in the US, this is Election Day. So as we say in Chicago, vote early, vote often. And in the League spirit, vote Swain. Not that it really matters, he's the kind of guy who would steal the election anyway, but who else can keep the two brothers, Darius and Draven, on a leash? Plus Sion, you can even argue Katarina, Talon, Cassiopeia, and really the guy's just staying on a powder keg and somehow not blowing himself up. Eat your heart out, Obama. Anyway, Swain's lack of wave clear means I can either try to use the flock or I can just try to tank this up. I don't want to send it under turret because depending on how much damage they have, I probably couldn't get any of them. Yasuo is point blank, he knows to dash out of the never move once again, but right there he accomplished nothing and paid how much health exactly? Did manage to burn a lot of my mana, but kinda. So I don't really know why he's being so freaking aggressive, to be honest. For one, he's playing this as a kill lane when it really should just be a sustain lane. Neither of us really have the way to push the lane. He will once he has his shiv, but Swain just has so much sustain that you gotta burst in and ideally apply Grievous Wounds, which Yasuo simply can't do. Speaking of Grievous Wounds, you will notice that there is a Trist in the bottom lane, which is going to complicate things for me slightly. As for Swain, you want an MR item eventually. You have your choice of either the Abyssal Scepter or the Spirit Visage. The difference between the items is the Abyssal Scepter will increase your damage by giving you more AP as well as lowering the enemy's MR, so all of your stuff does more damage as a result. Advantage of the Spirit Visage is you will get more healing, so you can actually stand in the middle of the fight longer because you'll get more health back from your flock. But the trade-off with Tristana is, due to her Grievous Wounds, I'm not going to be regenerating too much, so I'd go for the Abyssal Scepter if the game went long enough. Sadly, it does not. Anyway, right here I don't get to do the full combo, so Yasuo gets to keep the majority of his health, but I did pay a portion of my mana. So right here I managed to nail the cannon minion, which is what I was really hoping for. I used the flock to try to clear the rest of the wave while picking up as much as I can. It cost me a good portion of my mana, but the good news is I leveled up. So I get the Valor's Reward passive out of the Catalyst to give me some health back. Yasuo goes in, but the flock is just going to negate all the damage he does. And all I have to do is turn it off under tower, and if I'm careful enough, I should be able to last hit most of these. And right there I believe I messed it up, so okay, I still got the one. Can go ahead and get a health pot ticking, and sadly I'm not close to the next level up, so I can't really bait him into something. As for this, he managed to get on the edge of the never move. Jarvan makes a play, but right here I thought he wanted to go in and we could actually do the freaking Cataclysm flock move, but nope, Jarvan decides, gotta save myself, screw you Swain, etc, etc. So, completely unneeded death. Don't really know if his flag and drag was up, but he could have just went over the wall instead, but he trades carry for a jungler. Not a good trade. And he dies under the turret anyway. So I could lose the turret if I don't actually port in. I did make it in time to pick up the cannon minion, but I can use the flock to pick up most of the CS still. As a result of Blitz's trip to the top, we get to pick up the bot lane, and Jace is a little upset about knocking Skarner away, but the suppression's still going off. Bit of an odd interaction, but that was one of the problems Skarner had before Riot decided to take a look at him. Still a little hesitant to call the rework successful or failure yet, because we have to see what Season 5 is like. Trist goes down, and that's pretty bad, because she's the hyper carry. She's the one who's actually going to save them come late. And as a result, if she does not get off the ground, she's not going to amount to anything, really. I've yet to actually see a convincing Azir, so I can't really say if he has a lot of carry potential or what. But that's the guy in the mid lane, I believe, against Jace. And he... You'll see. So I'm trying to push this into the turret because Yasuo made an appearance bot. And due to the flock, you are able to proxy to a certain degree. Unfortunately, you do burn through a large amount of mana by doing so, so you can't do it as long as Singed can, for example. But you still have a relative amount of safety. So right here I can just stand right in the middle of the flock. I use the never move just to speed up the kill process. And just like that, I get to take out the entire wave. I get all 6 of those. We lose mid to Azir. And the top is going to be going down in a moment. Right here I don't really know where anyone is, so I'm a little leery to stand out in the open. And I decide they could be coming this way. I'm just going to take the turret. Play it safe. Stand close enough to pluck the local gold, and lo and behold, there is Yasuo. And since I don't have never move, I couldn't actually root him in place, but I opt to just play it safe, walk out the side. He seems to be more eager in pushing the lane anyway, so I can just step aside. So right here he grabbed me, but I had the block to help mitigate some of the damage. Sadly, due to the knock-up at the last second, he managed to pick me off, but luckily Jace managed to secure the kill. So right here I decided to opt straight into the Zhonya's over tier 2 boots, which could go either way. Both would help me. Boots would be nice to give me more mobility to dodge the attacks that Yasuo is going to be sending at me, while the Arm Guard, of course, is just more armor to mitigate the damage he can inflict. So odd phalanx type move, but I guess he was just a panic due to being surrounded. As a result, Azir goes splat. And you can see my thoughts there. I don't really know how the enemy team is doing for rewards. When I'm in top lane, due to the whole island effect, I don't really pay too much attention to the other lanes. Like right here I was wondering, do I need to teleport to the Dragon Pit, or can I troll Yasuo a bit? So I'm going to lose the tower here, but I got to take out a portion of his health by making him eat the whole Decrepify. And down he goes. So getting the turret was a good deal, but we got the dragon, and I also got the kill on him. So I came out quite a bit ahead on that trade. So I can't really see my stats. I think I'm 3-3-2 at the moment. And while I know how I finish up, you'll have to take a guess. Feel free to speculate based on the course of the game. You can kind of tell by the way Trist is going that she's not really the threat. Bad news is, due to Grievous Wound, regardless of how well she does, she can actually annoy the hell out of me by reducing my healing, but all I have to do is stay away from her. She's someone else's problem. It's election day, that's the American way and everything. Why solve our own problems? Anyway, she makes a bad move, and as a result she dies to me. Sadly, Jace is not really in an ideal position. He gets picked up by Yasuo, and right here I'm out of mana. So in order to get away from him, I have to go ahead and burn the flash. And I just have a health pot ticking. I don't have the Valorous Reward just yet, so right here I'm kind of wondering, how far is Yasuo going to chase me? I have to hide over here. I dropped the ward there so that Jarvan could see that, because I knew he was coming my way. Question is, I just didn't know from where. And as a result of that ward, Jarvan gets to steal the Wraith. So suck on that, Yasuo. Anyway, I get to pick up the needlessly large rod. I'm one step closer to the Zhonya's Hourglass, and if you're wondering, you can use these Zhonyas during your ult. You become invulnerable, but you will still deal damage and heal, which is why that item is so pivotal for Swain. As for this, the top lane is too far pushed out. This one is relatively close, but it's pushing towards the enemy, but I can try to secure some in CS. Right here I noticed Yasuo is serious about pushing, so I go ahead and just clear the wave. And right here I'm wondering, where do I need to teleport? Ultimately I settle on the top line so that we don't lose too much turret health. Go ahead and use the flock to clean this up, but sadly I did not get the siege minion. And if you're wondering the reason why I'm doing post-commentary, that ties into what you just saw in the chat here. I've still been having problems with the disconnect bug, and it causes problems with the recording, so I just kept the microphone off while recording in the event I happen to encounter that bug. Anyway, Azir is kind of out of position, but due to his dash he's able to get to safety. Sadly, Jace got pulled, but he's still able to kill Trist. And Braum shows up, he gets the slow and secures the blitz kill, but unfortunately I didn't get to deal any damage to blitz, so no assist for me. And due to the tier 1 boots, I actually can't keep up with Braum and Jace, which is one of the areas where the lack of tier 2 boots is going to bite me this game. It's pretty important later on to dodge a blitz pull, but after a certain point, it really doesn't matter if blitz pulls me because I just ult in Zhonya's and then I'm just ulting in the middle of their group. It'd be ideal if I could drop a Torment first, but I'd just be fine trolling them with my ult. So Azir goes down to Jace. Right here I drop a ward on the red buff to see if I could pick that up. Denying Skarner his red actually does a lot of damage to his gank potential. He'd pretty much be dependent on his E to take away a good portion of the enemy's movement speed. And if he misses that, then all he can do is pretty much watch the enemy walk away. Anyway, I have the Zhonya's moved to the 1 key, and my next item is the boots, because I am going to suffer from the lack of movement speed. So Braum goes down, Jarvan makes the sacrifice, Jace gets Yasuo, and Trist. And right there he does the Cataclysm so that they're stuck in place for Lucian, but bad culling, so yeah. And right here is one of the areas where lack of boots is hurting me. Blitz has Moby boots, I have just boots of speed. Good news is, Azir gets really greedy, and as a result I get to punish him. And by extension I get the double buffs from him. Now, if you're wondering, Swain with a blue buff is extremely annoying because it's extremely easy to keep your flock up. You can keep it up for a much longer period of time as a result. So if you're playing against Swain, ideally you want to keep him away from blue buffs. And right here is where I'm going to get burned once again. They lock me down with CC for the most part to delay me popping the Zhonya's, but I still managed to do it. I still healed a good portion. As a result, while I went down, I still managed to delay them long enough for my teammate to escape. So right here I'm looking to get a feel for their damage, decide where I need to go from here. Do I need to rush the Abyssal Scepter for the MR, or can I go for a Death Cat for more damage? Basically that line of thinking. So, he was right that we had the area warded, he just guessed incorrectly as to where the ward was. But my ward timed out anyway, so it's not like it really mattered. Yasuo decides to do some sort of split pushing strategy, which I guess he could do. He does have teleport. But right here, he is going to die. He outplays Lucian by dashing through the culling. But Braum shows up, but the bad news for him is I'm right here. I force him into the brush through with my never move, and as a result, he has to eat the whole Decrepify. With the amplified damage from the Flock, the Torment, the Decrepify, I managed to secure the kill, and down goes the Samurai. Sadly, Azir is pressuring the top lane, and I figure due to the... I can't remember what his W is called, I think it's a Rise. Azir is really, really good at taking turrets once he has some AP. He probably is the single best guy at taking them just because he can deal a pretty solid amount of damage on a really low cooldown. Pretty much that's the only thing I'd say Azir really has going for him. You have to last long enough to actually build the AP and get to the siege phase, but Azir at your tower is not really a good thing, because that tower is not going to last very long. As for right here, I don't really know if someone's lying in wait for me, so I'm just trying to get a feel for the area, scout out, see if I can ambush someone before I get ambushed, and as a result I don't find anyone, so just some farm and I can make way for the team fight that's brewing mid. So I teleport in to try to catch them from behind. Sadly, when I arrive, Jarvan's dead, Jace is dead, and if you saw Yasuo's health, it's kind of hard to see, but he's at the wolf camp, all alone. So guess what? He's not moving anywhere. Torment, Decrepify, Flock, down goes the Samurai. So we lost our inner turret, but the enemy is at such low health that I will kill them if they don't actually retreat. I'm at full, I'm actually pretty decent in my build, not starved for gold or anything like that, and I can take the fight to the dragon pit, but ideally I don't want to be alone here. Blue buff is up, and I decided to take that instead so that I can keep the flock up longer. You can see what my mana is like at the moment. Lucian kills the Azir turret, and we did give up the dragon. So if you're wondering, Jace and I could both use it, the blue buff that is. The thing is, I think I could just use it better than him because I can stand in the middle of the enemy and just sustain like mad. While him, he wants to just poke with it. He can make use of the CDR, I guess, but I just need the mana regen to be as annoying as freaking possible.
My thoughts exactly.
So, right here's one of those quiets in the storm from the mid-game, but if you look at the timer, you can tell that the game is almost over. There's going to be a few big plays in a little while, and it's going to kind of turn things on its head. Key thing that you need to know is by now the Rod of Ages is pretty stacked, making a peek on the Baron Pit to make sure they're not trying to sneak it away from us, but the enemy was spotted in their bottom half of the jungle. Go ahead and pop the flock here to thin out the minions so that the lane will be pushing our way. And right there, the wind wall is down. We lost Braum's Q, whatever the hell that thing is called. I don't really know. Braum got pulled. He does his ult. I pop the flock. Here comes the Cataclysm. And I tried to flash into the Cataclysm, but I missed it. So I was just outside of it. The good news is I was still in range for the flock, so managed to kill Skarner. Blitzcrank never moves, secures the kill on Trist. And Azir goes down to Lucian for the ace. So we went 5 for 1. One of us for 5 of them. Now I have the Rod of Ages fully stacked. I have the Zonias, I have the means to sustain. That's why I opt to take the turret while Jace and Lucian go crazy on it. But once the minions are thinned out enough, I can't sustain anymore. My health is too low, so I have to fall back. But we got the turret. That's the key thing. So the outer shell in the enemy base is cracked. Lucian and Jace are just really good at sieging crap due to the W on Jace and then Lucian's E, so inhibitor just melted. Anyway, I need to heal, and I opt to go for the Death Cap for more pain. As from here, I'd either go for the Void Staff or the Abyssal Scepter, depending on the course of the game, who's fed, who's doing how much damage, what kind of damage, stuff along that line. But we're starting to just get ahead. We have the gold lead, and as a result I opt for more damage because I have the Zonias to just give me the period of stasis and potentially dodge some of their moves, put some of their skills on cooldown, and just survive. So you can see at this stage, once you have some AP, Swain can actually clear jungle camps decently, and right here the enemy knows what's coming. If I could have had my flash up, I could just annihilate them in that Baron Pit with all my damage over time, my damage amp, the Baron's MR reduction, but they were smart enough to get the hell out. Azir, not so lucky, but I think I was the one who killed him. I can't remember offhand. Still, we chase them off. They're wounded. They have to go back. One of them is dead. That means our Baron. So I drop the Laser Bird to help. I don't want to go into my old form to burn mana because there is a chance they could try to sneak attack us, but it never came to happen, so I kind of, well, it's just a wise move on my part, if I say so, to hold back the ult. In the event of a team fight, we would have been prepared. Anyway, we can just resume our siege immediately afterwards, and you can definitely tell the game is winding down here. Now, with the mid down, we should be focusing another lane. We don't have any minions handy, so I opt to proxy here. If you look on the minimap, our wave is coming out of the base, which means theirs is following suit. And go ahead and pick off this wave, and then the lane will push our way as long as we keep the pressure up. But over here, I don't know what happened. Braum is inside the turret range. Jarvan follows suit. I go into my flock form because I knew Skarner was going to suppress me. I can pop my stasis as soon as I get out, and now the enemy is stuck in the middle of all my damage. I kill Yasuo, Jace kills Skarner, we nuke down Trist, but she manages to limp away with, what is that, double-digit health? And Azir's turret goes down, and here is the final siege of the game. So I could go either way. Jace is on one turret, Lucian's on the other. It's just when one goes down, the other's going to immediately follow suit. I get credit for the one. And poor Azir getting stunned on the stairs. Never move, torment, decrepify, and dead. And that is Swain. Something new for you guys, and leader of Noxus celebrate election day. Anyway, thoughts and observations will be going in the description, and the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.